This meeting is being recorded.
Tervetuloa tähän Senergia-järjestämään SAJ Invertterit tuoteinfoon ja käydään tuotteita hiukan läpi ja toivottavasti kuvat vaihtuu hyvin. Ja tosiaan tämän päivän aiheena on SAJ Invertterit. Osa tästä tuoteinfosta tullaan pitämään englanniksi, koska Mikael Hedlund SAJ:lta pitää oman osionsa englanninkielisenä, mutta kysyä saa, jos tulee jotain kysymyksiä, niin laittaa tuonne chattiin kysymyksiä. Mä oon tosiaan Kalle Salli ja olen täältä Senergian puolelta vastaan meille koulutuksista ja koulutusten kehittämisestä. Ja toisena puhujana meillä on tosiaan Mikael Hedlund SAJ:lta. Welcome Mikael, and I will still continue a little bit about the Finnish, and you can present yourself when you start your presentation.
Thank you.
Tosiaan tämän päivän sisältö on, että katsotaan SAJ:n tuotevalikoima, mitä inverttereitä sieltä löytyy, millaisia ominaisuuksia, mitkä on datalehtien arvot ynnä muut. Sitten katsotaan, että miten sitä pystytään monitoroimaan. Hiukan katsotaan hybridi-inverttereitä, akusto-ominaisuuksia, millaisia heiltä löytyy. Ja sen lisäksi sitten katsotaan vähän applikaatioa ja sitten jos tulee kysymyksiä ja on vähän ongelmanratkaisua, niin tämmöinen olisi sisältö. But now we start our English part, and Mikael will share his presentation, but if there comes any questions, you can write those in chat in Finnish or then ask some comments. So hope you will enjoy the presentation. But Mikael, you can share your screen now and tell a little bit about more yourself and the company.
Thank you. So, Kalle, you see the screen, right?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Good, thank you. Excuse me. I have a bit of a cold. My name is Mikael Hedlund. I've been in the solar business since 2005. I think I've been through the whole supply chain in solar industry, involved in installing, selling, even sort of producing solar panels and so on. So I consider myself knowing a little bit about the industry anyway. It all started basically with SAJ. First, I should say that I'm responsible for SAJ in the Nordic region. When I was installing and selling systems, we had problems in Sweden because we didn't have any good wholesalers, and we had to import from sort of German or Italian wholesalers and so on, and it was quite expensive. And then I started to bring in SAJ directly from China. So we have been installing SAJ in Sweden for, I think, 7-8 years now. So it's not a new product for the market, but it's a new product for selling it out to the market, I would say. In Sweden, there were about 8 installers using SAJ for the last 5 years. So it's a well-tested inverter that is now coming up to the Finnish market. I will today go through the product portfolio. Hello. There we go. About what kind of inverters we have, how they communicate, how you as an installer easily sort of communicate with the inverter, how easy they are to install, and also a bit about the after sales process.
Michael, can I interrupt, and can you put that presentation in the presentation mode, then we get the slides a little bit bigger.
There we go.
Thank you.
I would say the absolute biggest advantage with the inverter is the reliability. It's extremely reliable. We have, I would say, out of 1,000 installed inverters, we have less than 5 reclamations. So I would say it's 1 to 2. So there's very, very seldom you have a problem, customers calling you and telling you that something is wrong with the inverters. They're very easy to install. You will have a local support when you have questions about installations. I would say as long as you have installed your first inverter, after that there should be no more questions. There's a little process when you have to install the first inverter you need to create an account, and that you will get help with from Synergia. And after that, it's basically very easy to go forward. There is also a chat forum for installers where you get direct access to our technicians in both Europe and China. And there will also be me in those chat groups, so I can monitor and see the questions. We had that up and running for some time now, so a lot of questions has already been asked and already been answered, but you can scroll there and you can also get your questions quite quickly answered. And you will also have my mobile number with you all the time. And if there is any problems, you can call me and I will connect you to the right people. So when you are on site, you should quickly get access to help. Another one thing is that SAJ is a private-owned Chinese company that are able to produce a lot of inverters. They have secured the parts they need and are able to produce in numbers. So it's sort of not going to be any big problems to get inverters. Going over to the types of inverters. You have the R5 that is from 3 to 9 now at the moment. R5 is the inverter that I would say is the older version, the one that I started with. We will get a little bit closer into it. The new version is R6. It's down to the left. That has this round display on it. It also won the 2022 Red Dot Award, which is quite good for best design. And this one goes all the way up to 50K. And as you can see, there's a lot of different kilowatt variations. I would say in Sweden, the big sellers are 8, 10, and 12. I don't know how it looks in Finland, but I guess it would be around the same. Then you have the commercial inverters in the middle that goes from 75 to 125. This is a new product that is coming out on the market basically now. And it can also be ordered now in big numbers. And delivery time on these are around 6 weeks, I would say. We have some in warehouse, but as you can imagine, they are quite expensive to sit on, so not too many. Then we have the hybrid inverter. Sorry, I have to go back there. The hybrid inverter with the battery pack. It's called H2. This is one of the few hybrid inverter that has this UPS function that automatically switch over to off-grid if the grid goes down. It's not to be used as an off-grid inverter, but it will go into off-grid mode if you connect it that way. You have the option to do it with or without the UPS function. Together with the hybrid inverter, there is the battery package that comes. This is high voltage batteries. We have installed them in Sweden for a bit of I think a year now. And I would say that if there is any problems with sort of the inverter and connecting the inverters, the most questions we had is about the hybrid inverter together with the batteries, because clients are very specific in what kind of needs they have and how they want it to work and so on. So I wouldn't say there's a problem with inverter, it's a problem with sort of getting the clients to understand what they can do or not can do with the inverters and the batteries. But I think we have answered most of the questions in Sweden the last year, and so I think we're quite up and running. I would also say that SAJ has a very strong R&D department, and so we are continuously upgrading the functions in the inverters, and we are able to upgrade software and so on from distance. And often that is, if there is some kind of problem, often we can ask the technicians inside to sort of check it from distance, and they can go in and see if there's something that needs to be done, and they can help you to update the software. They can also tell you, because of the error codes, what can be the problem, if there is something that needs to be reconnected or something like that. Then this is a brand new product. It's called HS2, which is a sort of a hybrid inverter. It is a hybrid inverter, but this one is connected solely on the AC side and can be used with any kind of inverter that's already are installed. So it's for all the systems that are out there already installed with any kind of brand inverter. So if you have a client who has a Huawei inverter or a SMA or something and wants a battery system to it, you can offer this system. It goes with any kind of brand. I think this will be a very, very successful product going forward. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the homepage of SAJ. Here you can go in, you see SAJ/electric.com, and here you have service and support, where you can find all the data sheets you need. There's a lot of questions that that other installers have asked, and you will see answers, and you can also chat with some people to help you out if you have any problems. But here you have all the data sheets and everything you need to know about the different inverters. This is a little bit of what you call it in Swedish, we call it lathund, just for you to have, so it's easy to see if you need more than 2 MPPT trackers. You need to go down here to the first one, which is 25. There we have 3 MPPT trackers. If you need 4, you have to go down to 40 kilowatt and so on. So it's just for you to have as a sort of quick guide if there's anything you need. Easy access to information, basically. So the R5 series is the sort of the base, the ground is sort of the most simple one. It goes without any problem, basically. This will be exchanged this year to R6 as well. But at this stage, it's R5 that we are using. It's very simple. It has 3 LED indicators on the front of the inverter that basically shows the one to the left. I'll come back to this later, basically. They are not heavy. They're quite easy to install. They are sort of, you can do it by yourself. In this version, you have 2 strings that you can put in. This is one of the smallest ones. And the maximum DC current you can put in now is 15 from the latest upgrade they did on the software. So it's gone up from 12.5 to 15. You will receive this presentation when we're done, and then I just put in some links to you, so you can, here you have YouTube channels where you can check out how to install it, how to do the initial setup, and all these things. It's very easy to make export limitations on these ones as well. And these videos will show you and guide you how to do it. Very simple, very easy. Now we come to the R6. These are the new ones. We've been using them in Sweden for a year. They have this LED indicator that's been very, I would say, the market they like it a lot. It shows clearly how much the inverter produces, which is what clients want to see. And they see directly if that something is not working, then the color of this LED circle will change. Often I would say the most common problem is that the earthing goes in the house, and then the inverter will stop because of it, and then it will become red, and then you have to tell the client to put on the earthing again, and then it works. A little bit about the naming rules. They are the same of all brands, all different variations. R6 represents the product name. Then you have the kilowatt of the inverter. And T stands for 3-phase. And there are single-phase inverters to be ordered, but it's nothing that we sort of have in, here in Sweden anyway. No one is using it. But there is if someone is looking for it. And then the 2 that comes after the T is for how many trackers, MPP trackers there are. And then 32 is for the DC input current. So it's 32 amp max. The display is also same for R6 and C6 and the hybrid inverter. So for an installer, you will sort of be very familiar with this for all models that you have access to. So solid green, everything is fine. And then you have sort of different modes, breeding mode that the inverter is starting up or waiting for an update or something like that. And then solid red, then something is wrong. And you will have an arrow code in the display that indicates what kind of error it is. And together with the inverter, you have in the book, you have arrow codes that you can read. So it's quite simple. I also want to, when we talk about the parameters, we just clarify that all the inverters are living up to the Finnish standards. You will be able to choose Finland in the settings when you installed the inverters. That goes for every inverter that will be sent from China from today, basically. So the ones that we have in the warehouse, there is not Finnish settings to be chosen at the moment, but this next coming month, there will be a software upgrade so you can use the ones we have in the warehouse, put them up, and then you will get a software update within 4 to 5 weeks that makes it possible to choose Finland. When we look at these numbers here, you can see that you can put in, you can oversize the system with 150% on the DC side and 110% on the AC side. So you can put up, you can easily use a 15 kilowatt inverter for up to like 20 kilowatt or even 22 kilowatt systems. They all have built-in protection for overvoltage, and they also have for this AFCI function are built in all inverters. With all the inverters in the box, we are delivering a communication module. The one that is in the box is the one in the middle. This one you can use for Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and Bluetooth. So this one comes with all the inverters you buy. Sometimes that's not enough, and then you need to maybe use 4G or something like that. Then you have to order that separately. But here in Sweden, I would say 99% of the market is happy with this. There is also a possibility to use Modbus communication if you need to do that. And here it's just a YouTube film that shows how to install the R6. And they are quite easy. They are step by step. I would say they're a little bit too easy to understand. It becomes boring the first 5 minutes, but go look them through, and that shows how easy it is to install these inverters. Now I come to the commercial ones. It goes, and as you see here, they have the same LED display. What I heard from the market is that here to the where you see the picture number 1 here, behind this, what you call it, lid, you do all the wiring. there's a lot of space to do your wiring, so it's not it's quite easy for the installer. Sort of, the hair has a lot of room with the cables and so on. So it's been very much appreciated by the installers. The same goes for this commercial inverters, that you can oversize them on the DC side and also on the AC side. They have basically the same specs as R6, everything built in. And they also come with the communication modules in the box when you buy them. And they also come with this eSolar AIO3, which goes with Ethernet, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. If you need to connect many inverters together and make a plant of it, you can easily do so. You do need this called eSolar SEC, which is sort of a smart meter that you buy separately. And you can connect up to 10 inverters. And then you have to start over again, sort of. And here is the link to the manual of how to install the commercial inverters. And all these ones are also easily found on the SAJ homepage. Now we come to the battery system and the hybrid inverters. The hybrid inverter 3-phase comes with 5, 6, 8, and 10 kilowatt at the moment. There are bigger ones coming up, not sure when, but it will happen this year, but can't tell you when at the moment. To note here is that to get this 3-phase hybrid inverter to work properly, you need minimum 2 battery packs, which is 10 kilowatt. One battery pack is 5 kilowatt, and you need minimum 10 kilowatt to get this working properly. This hybrid inverters comes with a smart meter. It comes with it in. When you buy the hybrid inverter, it comes with the smart meter, and together when you buy battery packages, modules with it. A battery solution contains one hybrid inverter, and then you have, as you see here, you have the battery management box. There's the battery management box on top, and then you can connect up to 5 battery package in one system, or not in one system, on one staple or whatever. I have to excuse my English. You can attach up to 5 battery modules. Then you can parallel this up to 8 towers, so you can get a maximum 200 kilowatt battery system. I haven't sold one of those yet. I would say the most common system we sell is 10 kilowatt. And I think the maximum we sold is 30 kilowatt here in Sweden. You can use other batteries, 2 different brands called Pylon and Dynas. This is nothing that we have done anyway, but it can be good for you to know that they are compatible with these 2 battery brands as well. The The naming rule is the same of the R6, and the display, as you see, is the same. They have a little bit more functions to display on the hybrid inverter. We'll come to that. Here are the links that shows you how to install them and how to connect them. The batteries are lithium iron, and they are high voltage batteries. To my knowledge, we had no problems with the batteries. As I mentioned before, the only problem we had has been with satisfied clients that has some very specific wishes with especially UPS functions. But that is something as we've gone through now a year, so I think we have answers to most of the questions that you can come up, that your clients can come up with. The battery control unit has the same display as all the other variations of inverters have. So you will be very familiar with everything when you have started using SAJ. We talked about this before a little bit, that you can connect up to 8 staples of batteries, and so you can build quite a big battery system if needed. The working modes are the normal self-consumption mode. You have the time of use mode, where you can put in or set the parameters after your grid owner's, what you call it, price variations. So if you want to charge your batteries during the night because the prices are lower and so on, you're free to do that. Then you have the backup mode, which is sort of the UPS mode. So when there is a grid failure, the inverter will come in and still work, so you can run some products in your house, I would say. It's the way I connected it at my place is that I have the water pump, the lighting, which is all LED, and the fridge and the freeze and so on. And now I haven't had any power failure so far since I installed it, but if that would come up, then I would still be able to sort of get my water and my lighting and my freezer and so on. That would work properly. And the ones we had problems with is the ones that want to run the whole house on this system when the inverter goes down, the grid goes down. But it's all about sort of settings and so on. Here we come back to the LED display on the that looks a little bit different on the batteries, and because here you have sort of some more variations on the display. Very self-explaining, battery, how much it's loaded and so on. And here is the explanations of all the different readings of the display. I'm scrolling through this. The app solution that SAJ has is called SAJ Home. It's quite new. It's been upgraded. There was some, or there's still an app called eSolar, that some still are using, but the new one is running out. It's been out for half a year, I would say. It looks better. It's a new sort of layout and more explaining, I would say, especially for the end user, that very simply he sees exactly what his system and so on needs. But for you installer, it's also, I would say, very easy to register the inverter. And it's only the first time, as I talked to you about before, where you have to create your account, where it can create some problems because it's, and we are changing that, but there has been some misunderstanding what to fill in and so on. So the first time you do this, you should connect it to me or to Ludwig in Synergia or someone, that so we do it correctly from the start. After that, there's no problem, not at all. In this app, you have different functionality as an installer. You can go in and search for information and get direct access to technicians. Those are then normally from China. In the app, you have something called FAQ, questions, where all the different questions that installers have asked are stored. And there are sort of links on how to solve these problems and so on. So this is something one can, I mean, normally you don't have to read this at all, but if you have the problem, you can check there first, or you call us. I would say 99% call us directly. So I don't know how many who use this really. After sales service, if there should be any problems, I mean, things can happen. You will contact us, Synergia first, and we will try from site to connect to the inverter and see what kind of problems there is. See if we can fix it from distance. Often it can be that you as an installer maybe have connected some cables wrong or something like that. You need to check. Otherwise, if there should be that the inverter is faulty, then we will send you a new one and pick up the faulty ones and bring it back to us. This is just a picture of what you can sort of do, different varieties in the app, what you can do. If you need, for instance, to go in as an installer here to do some upgrading of the software or something, you can do that. You can limit the inverter from distance and things, which is nice to have. Especially when the client calls, you can easily go in and check the system and see that, yeah, here's something wrong, or no, everything is working as it should, or what. Yeah. Very self-explaining, I would say. I will scroll through these ones coming up, but these are sort of a picture of, you can ask your questions in this app, and there will also be old questions that you can look at, and there will be answers and some kind of tips of how to solve the problems. Excuse me, something happened here. There. After sales process we have talked about. This one is in Swedish, that you don't need. So first of all, I want to thank you for listening in, and I want to emphasize on the biggest advantage is the reliability of the inverter. We have extremely few cases where there is a problem, and also that you will have very good support from both Synergia and from me going forward when you're using SAJ. Thank you very much, Kalle.
Thank you, Mikael. And I take some words in Finnish, but jos on tosiaan kysymyksiä, niin voi esittää. Ja tosiaan nyt on chattiin ainakin yksi kysymys tullut. Ja Michael, can you tell us what is the maximum UPS power for household and those hybrid inverters? Is there like some kind of separate connection where you connect the AC cables, and what is the maximum load? What you can put there?
The maximum load, it depends on which hybrid inverter you use. If you take 10 kilowatt hybrid inverter, I think the maximum load is 15.2 amps per phase. Ludwig, are you with me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, Ludwig. And
Yeah, so it's a separate backup port and it's 3-phase. And for the 10 kilowatt hybrid, the maximum load is 10 kilowatts. And for the 8, it's 8 kilowatts and so on.
So the size is UPS port size is quite big in these cases.
Yes, it is.
Ja tässä voisi suomeksi tosiaan Ludwig Mesh on meillä Ruotsissa, toimii teknisessä tuessa ja hän on oikeastaan varmaan Pohjoismaassa varmasti paras henkilö, kuka tietää kaikista eniten näistä SAJ-invertereistä ja tehnyt paljon töitä. Ja Ludwig nyt on jonkin aikaa täällä meillä Suomessa myös käytössä, eli siinä mielessä ihan hyvä nyt käyttää tilannetta hyväksi, jos niin kuin tämä inverteri tuntuu hyvältä ja varsinkin nämä ominaisuudet. Tämä UPS-ominaisuus on varsin mielenkiintoinen. Mutta onko muita kysymyksiä tässä vaiheessa? And for Ludwig, because you don't speak Finnish, I just told the attendees that you are now working with us in Finland, and you are probably the leading specialist for the SAJ inverters here in Nordics, basically. So.
Yes, the only problem is I don't speak Finnish yet, but I'll do my best. Maybe I'll have a translator.
Yes. And tosiaan, mitä halusin tähän nostaa niin kuin yhteystiedot ottaa esille, eli tosiaan info@energia.fi, sinne voi kysyä saatavuuksista ynnä muista tiedustella. Ja sitten teknisissä asioissa voi laittaa ihan suomeksi support@energia.fi, niin sieltä sitten meidän myös suomenkielinen tekninen tiimi vastaa teknisiin kysymyksiin ja saatte ihan suomen kielellä vastausta, niin ei tarvitse pelätä sitä, että tarvitsee englanniksi laittaa tai ynnä muuta. Ja tosiaan verkkokaupasta löytyy nämä SAJ:n tuotteet jo valmiiksi ja sieltä löytyy ihan oma osio SAJ-invertereille ja niiden saatavuus on ihan hyvä tällä hetkellä, että niitä on meillä varastoituna täällä Pohjoismaissa hyvin. Ja joo. Sitten vielä tähän haluan nostaa esille meidän tulevia koulutuksia, eli katsoo energia.fi/koulutus, niin sieltä löytyy meidän tulevat koulutukset, ja nyt 2.5. niin saatiin pelastuslaitoksen henkilökunnan kanssa lyötyä lukkoon, koska sieltä on vuorosta tullut tämmöinen aurinkosähköjärjestelmien paloturvallisuusohje, minkä pelastuslaitokset on yhdessä tehnyt, niin se koulutus järjestetään ja se tulee tuonne verkkoon lähipäivinä, niin siihen pääsee ilmoittautumaan ja sen lisäksi sieltä löytyy 4.5. Ferroan webinaaria sekä Tektopower maa-asennusjärjestelmäkoulutusta. Ja sitten ensi kuun puolessavälissä olisi pari ihan fyysistä koulutusta, jotka voi tutustua siellä koulutusosiossa, niin siellä sitten keskitytään aurinkosähköjärjestelmien suunnitteluun ja paikat on tosiaan Helsingissä ja Tampereella ja sitten sinne tulee myös mukaan saadaan meiltä Ruotsistakin vahvistusta, teknistä asiantuntemusta, niin saadaan aika laaja hieno kokonaisuus. Mutta kiitos tässä vaiheessa ja tosiaan vielä voi esittää kysymyksiä ja tosiaan tästä lähtee nauhoite tuonne kaikille ilmoittaneille osallistujille ja laitetaan sinne noita linkkejä ja materiaaleja, mitä Mikael mainitsi. Ja tutustukaa SEJ verkkokaupassa valikoimaan ja ottakaa yhteyttä myyntiin. Do you want to say something in the end now, Mikael?
No, I'm just looking forward to get this started in Finland. Now you have, as Kalle said, you have Ludwig in the spot. He knows this inverter in and out, and he will be able to help you all the way. So use Ludwig going forward.
Jep, mutta kiitoksia ja ollaan yhteydessä ja palaamme. Moi!
Moi!